All right, Beryl moving into the Yucatan and weakening with the 10 p.m. update, a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. There is some dust around it. It's coming off the interaction with land. There's dust over the coastal bend, too. And there's some cooler water around upper 70s, low 80s off the northern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. So as Beryl gets into the Gulf, it's going to interact with another feature that's over the western Gulf right now. It's an upper level low, and these two are going to be playing off of one another. If this can stay just far enough away from Beryl, it helps evacuate some of the outflow. You're seeing that, the cirrus clouds moving up toward the northern Gulf. That helps with reorganization. However, if this stays closer to Beryl, it moves more shear in its direction, and that could hurt intensification and hinder that part of the forecast. So that play between these two features will be something to keep an eye on. All indicators are that this will reorganize and strengthen on approach to the Middle Texas Gulf Coast. There are those somewhat cooler than the mid-80s sea surface temps. You see those lighter reds showing up north of the Yucatan. And then there's this other feature that's well north of here, the trough in the upper levels of the atmosphere that's going to want to pull this storm to the north. So it's got a lot in its favor in terms of wanting to bend to the north. And the storm itself right now is tracking north of where a lot of the guidance thought it would be at this point. So that trend is continuing here at the 10 o'clock hour. 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm, 75-mile-per-hour gusts, moving 10 to 15 miles per hour in a west to northwesterly fashion. And again, the hurricane watches are up and posted. Another shift by about 40 miles to the east with this 10 o'clock update. And since yesterday, the cone over here yesterday, this has been an over 100 miles, I was going to say per hour, but shift in the cone to the east. That's a huge shift with respect to this cone. So if this continues, we would be on the dry side. Right now, we're still on the dry side with this track, but that trend continues to move it to the north and east. Again, the hurricane watch is up and posted. Category 1, 90-mile-per-hour storm at landfall. This is 7 in the morning, and if it gets farther north, this would be later in the day. So it could be late morning, early afternoon for a landfall on the Middle Texas Gulf Coast, which we're kind of calling between Baffin Bay and the Lake Jackson area, south and west of Houston. And you see how that fans out, moving to the north and east. And after the landfall, that same dry flow is going to, I think, suppress some of the rain chances here next week. So this high pressure we've been saying would be moving away. It's going to do that over the weekend. It's still kind of suppressing some of that northward movement, but that high backs off to the east, opens up that avenue for the storm to move to the north, trough pulling it to the north as well up in the Central Plains. And the models are getting more tightly packed. They're starting to hone in, on the Middle Texas Gulf Coast. There you see where Rockport is in relation to some of these models. So we're not out of the woods yet. I don't want to make it seem like this is just over and done with, no big deal. It's a deal for sure, but this trend is taking the worst of the impacts and starting to move and displace them farther up the coast in Texas. There's the European model. Yesterday, this model was on the southern or western end of everything, a huge flip from the European. Again, these models, they're trending more to the north and east, and we're going to say this again because these shifts in the track can mean big changes in the impacts as we start talking about what is to come with respect to things like the wind. So, this is the center track now. Yesterday, way over here. Now, Friday, 10 p.m., it looks like the strongest winds, those 90-mile-per-hour winds, are going to be focused with this update on that San Antonio Bay, Matagorda Bay area heading into late Monday morning or Monday afternoon. And one other thing I want to point out with this track is as Beryl's coming up, it's going to be Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, Monday afternoon. That Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, we're going to be close. It'll be close, but moving parallel. So there are going to be some gusty winds with this track. Tropical storm force have got us up to 60 on the gusts for a lot of Corpus Christi. The Rockport-Fulton area, you know, you're looking right now, I think, at a strong tropical storm with hurricane force gusts in the Rockport area still with this forecast, and then that ramps up toward places like Tivoli, Oswell, Seadrift, San Antonio Bay area, Port Lavaca into the Matagorda Bay area. So that's where the trend is going. If you're out west in the brush country, we're not even talking about tropical storm force conditions as you get west of Highway 77 in the heart of KIII country. So that's how the wind looks right now with the current data and the current forecast cone. Rain ramps up into Monday, but again, we're on the dry side of this track now, so I don't think we see a ton of rain. And if this continues to move to the north and east, we're not going to see a ton of rain. I think the bulk of it falls close to center and east of the forecast center line. Right now, I got us at 1 to 2 inches of rain in Corpus Christi, primarily on Sunday and Monday. Waves get bigger Sunday and Monday. The period on the waves gets longer on Saturday. That raises the rip current on the risk on Gulf-facing beaches tomorrow. Be aware of that. If you're here on vacation, be aware that the rip current risk is going to be higher tomorrow, but then the waves really start to come in, and that will bring in coastal flooding. We will see the surge. You heard the chief earlier saying Alberto, 3.5 feet. This is looking at 3 to 5 feet, so this is going to be more than Alberto did with us, you know, a few weeks back. 2 to 4 feet down in the valley with 3 to 5 feet in all of the bays and places like the Laguna Madre. So there is going to be a surge here with this. Day by day now, Saturday, waves pick up, elevates the rip current risk, otherwise sunny and hot. Sunday, we do see, I think, a pickup in the winds, especially in the afternoon, a few downpours from the outer bands as it passes us by. And then Monday, right now, looking like it moves into the middle Texas Gulf Coast. This is the day when the highest impacts will be at landfall, but ours may start coming in Sunday a little earlier than that as the storm passes us en route to landfall. Tuesday, Beryl moves on and we're over and done with it. So right now we're still, again, with that trend, we're at this alert level. I've got my boards ready. If the forecast shifts the other way, I haven't boarded up yet. I don't have any protection on my windows. So that's where I'm at. If you're in the middle Texas Gulf Coast, I think this is looking a little bit more serious, that Matagorda Bay, San Antonio Bay area. So that'll be something to really pay attention to moving forward as that shift, that trend that we've been talking about all week. I gave those Avenue A, Avenue B solutions earlier with that trough pulling things you know, farther to the north, and that trend is happening. It's possible that continues overnight and into tomorrow, and we'll just see where that cone ends up. But still, everything's coming in, you know, a little bit more to the east. So we'll see how that plays out. Just keep up with the latest as you're following along.
Yeah, and we know that this has been an around-the-clock effort by you and the entire team. So phenomenal job.
Lots of coffee.
It is hugely appreciated. Alan, thanks.